when everyone is working when everyone's living it up. And I know what they say about good intentions, walking in someone's shoes and the grass being green.
What's going on? How's everyone doing? Happy Monday morning. Hope you all had fantastic weekends. I had an all right weekend for being in quarantine. Not bad. Not a bad weekend. Hope you guys had good weekends. All right. It's Monday morning. Monday is a nice light day for John Boy Media. Just get you all into the mood. We got a fantastic interview on Talking Baseball today. I meant to tweet this out already. If you're a Nationals fan, it's almost a must-listen episode. Sean Doolittle came on, and we talked for an hour and a half about everything, but, I mean, a lot of it was spent on the behind-the-scenes of the Nationals run and the team chemistry and the conga dance parties and the conga lines. And, I mean, if you're a Nationals fan or you just like hearing about behind-the-scenes stuff of World Series teams, I mean, it's a must-listen interview. Sean was absolutely awesome. Talked about the Astros a little bit, talked about the balls being different in the postseason a little bit. Talked about him coming up as a first baseman and switching to pitcher. We talked about a lot of stuff. He was talked about some books because he's a book nerd like I. So that was absolutely fantastic. We got an episode of Talking Sports that came out today. Jake, Bobby, and Keith. Let's see if they have a description for what they talked about. The guys introduce some new segments, which breeds some hot takes and debates, and they also rank the AFC quarterback situations by division. Listen or die. Well, fuck. That's the description for that. So that's a tough decision you guys are going to have to make there if you want to listen to that or die. John Boy and Jake TV, the best channel no one subscribes to on YouTube, is we did another Watching Baggage today. So those are always fun. There's a girl, I fell in love with her after the first round, and then I quickly decided she was annoying as hell the rest of the way. So that's what happened on Watching Baggage. Where you can go find out for yourself. It was also a big debate if one woman was wearing a wig or she wasn't wearing a wig. It's good times. And watching baseball, I always fucking forget. No need for that F word. Sorry, guys. Watching baseball, I think it's 15. The Royals. Yeah. And when are we dropping that? I guess I can just drop it now. Scheduled to be released at noon. I'll release that early. The Royals. Crazy World Series. We did the last inning where Harvey said he wanted to stay in and then lost it, and then later on with the errant throw to tie it, and then the go-ahead inning at the end in the 14th or whatever. So we did that. So that's everything we have coming out today. Talking baseball, talking sports, watching baggage, and watching baseball. Just as creative as you can fucking get with names right there. Absolutely amazing. All right, the weather today in Friendship, Maine is 55 degrees and sunny. I don't know if you guys... I think only people from Maine would know this, but Friendship, Maine is the coastline of Maine. It's kind of like a finger peninsula type deal. So a lot of coast weaving in and out of the coast of Friendship, Maine. Probably an original fishing town is what I would guess. All them pilgrims up there just fishing their asses off. And it's a cool looking town. Like if you do Friendship, Maine and Google image it. It was named something... I forget. It was named something after a Native American tribe or Native American name, and then they rebranded it Friendship, Maine. I looked everywhere to try and find out like who and why that came to be. Like why did they choose Friendship? And nothing came up. But I do know that the town got ransacked like twice during the French Indian War. One by an Indian tribe and then another by maybe the British or someone. So maybe to stop getting like fucking pillaged during wars, they're like, let's just name it Friendship. Maybe people won't want to attack us anymore. That's my official theory on the name of Friendship, Maine. Random baseball player of the day. Rennie Stennet. Rennie Stennet. Anyone remember him? He was born April 5th, 1951 in Cologne, Panama. recruited super young to be a pitcher in MLB by Yankees and a bunch of other teams. And his dad was like, no way. You are finishing high school and staying here, which was good because he thinks he wouldn't have made it as a pitcher. Stennet has a bunch of records, and he broke them all in a 3-day span, which was pretty cool. He also is part of the first all-minority lineup ever. On September 1st, Pittsburgh became the first team in Major League history to field an all-minority team to begin the game, and he was part of that. So he's in the record books there. And he holds the record for NL hits with 9 for NL hits in a 9-inning game. So he went 7 for 7. He went 7 for 7. And the story behind it is his ankle hurt and he wasn't even supposed to play. Look how skinny he was. He wasn't even supposed to play because his ankle hurt so bad. But he found out he was playing anyway. His first hit was a double in between the first baseman and the first base bag. And he said from there on out, he felt great because he knew if he could go to right with it as a righty, he was going to have a good day. In the first inning, he singled. And wait, hold on. In the first inning, he doubled in his first at-bat, and then he singled. In the third inning, he got a single. In the fifth inning, he got a double and a single. So he also holds the record for most times getting 2 hits in 1 inning in a single game. They batted around twice, the Pirates. I believe they beat the Cubs like 22-0 in this game. And he got 2 hits in 1 inning twice in the same game. Another record. Then in the 7th inning, he singled. And then in the 8th inning, he tripled. And they said that he was supposed to come out of the game because his ankle was hurting him. But he stayed in because his manager said, you're not coming out until you make it out. So he stayed in the game, and he hit a triple, which tied the record for most hits in a 9-inning game. We actually have footage of the triple, and my dude Champ Summers was out in right field and maybe gives the worst. I don't think Champ Summers was a defensive genius, but maybe gives the worst effort I have ever seen out of an outfielder. Check this out. So he's 6 for 6 at the time, slaps it to right. It doesn't even make sense. Like, he probably could have just ran forward and caught it if he was a normal outfielder. And he definitely could have stopped it at this point. So he doesn't even try to catch it. I mean, they're losing 20-0 and he's Champ Summers. So, I mean, of course. But it just lets it bounce by him and then goes and gets it for the triple. For Rennie to go 7 for 7 on the day. So that's cool. What else? There was some other info from here I had about him. Oh, the next night, he got 3 more hits. So that gave him the record for most hits in consecutive 9-inning games. So he had 10 hits in back-to-back 9-inning games. He holds that record. The next evening, he collected 2 more hits to give him 12 hits in three consecutive 9-inning games, tying a record. So ain't that baseball? Just records on records on records on records on records. Rennie Stennet. And then eventually he had like a couple good years. He bounces around. He didn't bounce around. He goes to the same. I didn't take notes on this part. He went to San Francisco, but he didn't get like a starting job again. Tried to make a comeback at like age 38, but didn't break camp with whatever team he was trying to make the comeback with. So that's our baseball player of the day, Rennie Stennet. Watched a lot of stuff this weekend. Oh, okay. Here's what we did. Here's what Katie and I did. I have it up here. We watched Hollywood, new Netflix show. New Ryan Murphy series. I don't know if you know who Ryan Murphy is, but if you watch any shows on FX, you know who he is. He did like American Horror Story, Versace, Bet and Jean Feud, or whatever the hell that was. And there's another one he did I can't think of. But it is a new one that just came out on Netflix called Hollywood. It's totally, you can tell it I was like, is this FX or Netflix? Because just he has his own vibe that he does all the time. I liked it. If someone was to be like, I didn't like that, it was corny, I'd be like, fair. Don't care. Sometimes corny shit will get you going the most. And then after that, Netflix suggested we watch the half of it, which we did, because right up my alley. I love little indie coming-of-age stories. Probably one of my favorite genres of film. Little indie coming-of-age stories. The Way Back, you guys ever seen that? Fucking love that movie. Anyway, the half of it, you don't know the half of it, was pretty cool. As you can tell by the poster, we got a love triangle. Those three people in the poster. Well, the two on the outside. It's like the meme. Those two are looking at the girl in the front, the four, and they're in love with her. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cute little movie. Book. I finished a book yesterday, or the other day. I finished Delights and Shadows by Ted Kooser, which is poems, and I feel like people have this stigma about poetry where they think, they think like, oh, you read poetry, and then they think if you talk about reading poetry, you're just trying to act all smart and shit. But, I mean, that kind of sucks. I like keeping a book of poems by my bed, and that if I read before I go to sleep, I'll read that instead of whatever other book I'm reading, because they're just bite-sized stories. There's no cliffhanger. You get the start, you get the middle, and you get the conclusion all in like one page. It's easier than getting yourself all wound up into a novel with characters and backstories and like the ending is far off before you go to sleep on a cliffhanger. Anyway, dude, he had a poem in here. He had this story in here that made me so sad. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ted Kooser. I guess if you don't like poems, you're not. But he's really awesome. He basically just paints pictures with words. Like, I'll just like be looking at something and then I'll just write down the visuals in like a very cool way. He did this fucking story about, I don't know if you guys care enough about this, but I made Katie listen to it. I was like, this is going to make you sad. So he did this story here about, it takes place in, I don't know, probably 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, Iowa. This old man goes to the train station because his daughter's coming back, but she's dead. She left when she was 18 to go become a star and become rich and famous in New York. And she would write letters to her mom about how she was doing so well and everything was going great. And then, it's like 20 years later and they get a letter saying, your daughter's passed away and we're sending her remains to you. So anyway, the sad part is, where is it? The sad part is, as soon as the coffin arrived, he opens it up, sees his daughter, and she's like old woman now. He hadn't seen her since she was 18, and that's sad. And then he opens her purse that's in the coffin with her, and it's empty. And he's like, shit, she wasn't actually rich and famous. So he takes some money out of his pocket, puts it in her purse. This is how it reads. He opened the purse and found it empty. So he took a few bills out of the pocket and folded them in, then snapped it closed for her mother to find. Then, with the back of the bar, he tapped the lid in place and went to find the station agent. The two of them carried the lifted coffin down and carried it a few hard yards across the sunny, dusty floor of Kansas, not Iowa, I guess, and loaded it onto the creaking wagon. Then, clapping his hat on his head and slapping the plump rump of his mare with the reins, he started the long haul home with his rich and famous daughter. That made me sad. Had to dress up his dead daughter so his wife would not understand the reality that she wasn't actually rich and famous. But anyway, if anyone's interested in short, bite-sized stories, Ted Kooser's your dude. I love him. He's awesome. And I think that's the end of the show, so I'm just going to keep playing the song again. As for the schedule today, we got ahead of the ball here. Sean Doolittle, Monday. That's already out. We didn't have to record Talking Baseball today. Tomorrow's Talking Yanks, already recorded. We got an interview with Tommy Canley coming out. Crush that. Laughs from the Past tomorrow. Already recorded that on Saturday because it's a 2-parter, so we needed a lot of time. So usually Mondays are crazy busy, but not that crazy busy day. We got, I'm done with this. At noon, we have a company meeting. So there's like, man, we're getting like 15 people at John Boy Media that attend our company meetings. So that's awesome. That's going to happen at noon. Just a quick catch up since everyone's working remote. And then Jake and I are going to record a bunch of watching baseballs because we got to we don't have tomorrow's done. So we got to watch 2016 World Series, 2017. Maybe we'll just, recording 4 in one day is kind of a whole thing. We'll probably just do 2. And then we got to figure out what we're going to do once World Series are over, what we're going to watch. So cool. All right. See you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me and having some breakfast and coffee. See you later.